It's October 6, 2025. I've seen this from the window. Little dude. I think this actually came from Kayla, Isaac's mom or something. Or it could have come from Adam. I think it was for my grandson Bryson. But I'm not exactly sure where it came from, but look, you gotta go in here. Okay, so I went outside and just grabbed that because it made me think of Sport, because Sport is like a little dude. And I just ate one of them military dinners. It's got a cracker left. Wow, they came with 2 of these crackers, and they're actually pretty good. But you know, Sport's been in here. It's not even really thundering or anything. It's just raining out. And Sport down there. He's down there. He's down there hiding. See? Oh, Sport, baby. Oh yeah, baby. You want this? Baby, come on, dog, baby. Come on, dog, baby. Dog, baby. Oh, dog, baby. Sport. Yeah, dog, baby. Come on, you. Come on. Come on, you dog, baby. You want it? Dog, baby. Dog, baby. You know you were a dog, baby. You know you were a dog, baby, Sport. A dog, baby, see? Sport, what are you gonna do? Huh? Here. Take that. Well, you a dog, baby, Sport. Sport, you a dog, baby. Dog, baby. Good, you're a dog, baby. Well, here. You take that, Sport. You take that. Good. Yeah. Hey. Yep. Fuck. I don't know if you can see him or not. That boomer under. And a boomer under there. Anyway, there's nice wood right here. Look at the big slabs I made. And bye. Well, those are my pups. Okay, that's the that's the first part of October 5th. I mean, October 6th, 2025. My journal entry. You know, I could actually like call this one because there's been several times in my life when I've made astute observations about a nodal point, a punctiliar moment. A nodal, N-O-D-A-L. I didn't learn that word until I was already in college, nodal. Anyway, there was a somebody somewhere along the line, I don't know if it was a poet or a movie star or what it was, but they said that it was the saddest and the happiest of times. Anyway, you know, you think about that, and you could say it in different ways too. Like it was the worst and the best of times. Okay. It was the most serious and most unbelievable of times. I don't know. However, you just wanted to juxtapose the two together. That's my nodal observation today, my astute observation. My nodal experience is that this is one of those times for me. I had one of these times when I was when I used to go kayaking the James River every day for a long time after I'd get off of work. You know, I worked this one job in downtown Richmond for a while, more than a year. Every day, and it was right near the river, and every day I got off work, I went straight to the river. Met my friend Tony there, and then we'd go kayaking. You know, we shuttle up the river. I mean, we park one car at the takeout and then drive up to the put in. Okay, and then we paddle down the river, and then you know, get that car and then go up and pick up the other one. So those are the best. I remember telling him those were the best of times. That I knew that these would be in my historical you know, book of recollection. These would be noted as the best of times. I told him that on the river a few times, and I knew it. I had that observation right then and there, and they were good times. And I stand by it. Look, man, I'm still going back to what my mom felt like my mom was saying to me yesterday a little bit, you know, that if you believe it, it'll be true. But some things ain't really hard to believe. I knew when you're in the best of times, you can know that. And same thing when you're in the worst of times. And it just so happens that sometimes when you're reliving the worst of times, you understand that they're the best of times, because it was in those worst of times that you struck a deep vein of gold, metaphorically speaking. Like if you're a miner, you know, searching the mountains for gold, coming down the river or in the land or something like that, in the rock or wherever. Then you strike a vein of gold, then you're rich, at least for a while. Well, in the dark times, in search of the light, sometimes we find the light, and it's like a vein of gold when you're searching the mountains for gold. And it can't be found any other place. So sometimes the only place that you can find something of real significant value behind the door, so to speak, or something, you know, behind the behind the flower of pain. Behind every beautiful thing, there's been some kind of pain. Well, there might not be any pain in the moment, you know. Like when I was kayaking the river with Tony, my buddy, every day after, for me, was a hard day's work. And I get on the river. I broke my nose on the river, but there was no pain. I mean, okay, actually, physically, there was pain, okay? Because I heard it go underwater. I could hear the sound really good, because when you're underwater, things sound like it. And when my nose hit that rock underwater, then it actually moved the bone in my nose, and it broke my nose. Well, whatever your nose is made out of, you know. You got, you know, stuff a little bit softer than bone in there too. Well, I broke my nose though. I actually broke whatever it had to grow back together. Look, you know, I'm just going back to the statement. It was the best at times, and it was the worst at times, and it was the best times. Put the worst part first, because usually you experience the worst part, and then you realize you actually found the best part. You actually figure that out a little bit later, that you actually found the best part when you were in the worst part. Sometimes it might take you a little bit of reflection to actually make that discovery, but it will be like a vein of gold. Maybe if you didn't experience it at the time. Okay, well, you know what? You can experience just like you read in the Bible, you know. You know, you read the Bible over and over, and then each time you read different parts of the Bible, you know, they're like reading it like brand new. Like you get a new special kind of meaning and inspiration from it, you know. And it don't mean the same thing every time. That's the thing about the Bible, is that it can speak to your soul. Yeah, that's what it has to do with mostly. That's why everybody regards the Bible as a special book, because it speaks to your soul more than any other book. Especially, I mean, if you believe in God and stuff, and it's kind of like a story of God and mankind, womankind and mankind. But so, you know, I just want to make this note today, you know, starting with sport, you know, and the little dude, because he's like a little dude to me. I have experienced a lot of pain, you know. I even experienced actually pain, you know, and think about, you know, you and my grandchildren. And I think that, you know, sometimes when you're not around somebody, it don't seem like they're real. Like, it's not real Like, it's not in my real life, you know. Like, there's nothing going on over there, so like kind of like it's not real. But there is a lot of real stuff going on, and I understand that. But I understand I only see a little bit of what's really going on, and the little bit that I know of, that I got to deal with right now, mainly like sport dying, and me kind of like, you know, struggling to feed my dogs and so forth like that. And I mean, by this time, you know, I've already experienced so much stuff in my life that, you know, when a catastrophe hits me, it really don't shake me too much, because like, and things don't really shake me too much anymore. The thing that is shaking me, though, is actually what's going on in our government and stuff, because that is shaking. There's a guy, my brother, he's dead now, but Brian, when we were kids, and I went to live at my dad's house for a while, we would walk down Highway 41 because one of our friends lived up the road, right off Highway 41, and I remember walking with him, you know, and he was telling me about somebody's house that he would go to or something like that, you know, get weed or something like that, you know, and he just answer the door by saying, "Hey, what's shaking besides eggs and bacon and the leaves on the trees and the wind as they blow?" Yeah. Brian was actually a pretty good kind of singer, I think, you know. He could have been, but yeah, he didn't have opportunity or any guidance, any real direction. And he had a learning handicap, so of some type, I don't know. But anyway, I'd go back. Those were the worst of times and the best of times. Actually, you know, like when I think about like my mom, the stories that she told me when she was little, and stuff she had to go through and everything, you know, I could see that like silver lining that made her who she was for me. Right? And even, you know, people change and stuff. Like, I know, you know, my mom, after, you know, she started drinking and stuff, I mean, I was already out of high school, and you know, then her life started changing, you know, for the worse. And I remember that my daughter Amber had conflict with both my mom. My mom and my daughter Amber, maybe your mom or aunt, said, well, they said harsh things to each other. But they had special time. So there again, the worst of time and the best of time, okay? I mean, my mom took care of Adam and Amber during the Gulf War, basically, the whole time I was in. And it was a hard time, but it was a good time. And it makes people who they become. There must be some kind of reason behind that. Hopefully. Maybe that's what I'm looking for today, is some reason behind that. And like with sport, you know, it like digs hard in me, like if you're digging your own hole for your own grave, so that when you can die, you can just fall over into it. All right, and not have to be eaten up by animals or something. I don't know, be eaten up by worms. Whatever. I'm just talking bullshit right now. But that's what people do, you know. In the most difficult times, they try to make light. They try to use it's not denial, but it's not avoidance, but it's not the sense of denial and avoidance in a negative kind of dysfunctional way, but it's a kind of healthy disregard for the difficulty. Okay. You find a healthy disregard for the difficulty when you're in the worst of times. And then, through the living experience, you strike that vein of gold. I don't know, makes it worth everything. Makes it all worth it. Somehow. Hopefully it'll all be worth it. So, I guess today, you know, I'm thinking about everything that I've got to do and everything that I'm facing. And I'm trying. Look, I got my sign over there. All right. That's one painted sheet of plywood. I'm gonna put that thing up. You know, it's gonna be like because my other big sign is facing the road, and that one, I mean, it's facing like that way, and this one's gonna be facing like this way, so that oncoming traffic it can be pointing toward them better. Because you might just go down, even though it's a 16 by 30, 12 by 16 feet of a sign, then in rectangle, then even though it's that big, if you're looking straight ahead, you still could, you know, not turn your head to look at it. But there's gonna be so much on it that people are gonna have to stop and read it anyway. By the time I get done with it, I mean, it's that big. What I might do is I might make like a comic strip with stick figures of people saying stuff. But I don't want to complicate this journal entry too much, you know, because I want to make sure that I get one solid point down. You know, that is that in those times that could be considered the best and the worst, in those times that could be considered the most difficult but the most rewarding, in the time that feels the most saddest, you see, like in sports cases, that flower of life that was given to me for a little while to love and to hold and to call by name and to say, I love you, buddy. I love you, sport. Well, you know, like if I was with you, my grandchildren, I wouldn't be saying the same thing. It's just, I don't know you. But I'm hoping that these words that I'm writing down in my journal, that I know to be true, I'm hoping that you can get them And it can be just like my mom said, you know, if you believe it, it'll be true. No, that's what I'm doing right here. You know, I'm giving you some family wisdom been passed on to me from my mom and dad, and stuff that I'm learning, you know, right now, like with sport and everything. Yeah, that's it. All right, bye. I love you. Bye.